This lesson is Fundamentals of HTML, XHTML, and CSS. In this lesson, you'll learn the basics of styling text with the CSS tag style as well as a class style. You'll also learn how to create an external style sheet. Now, this lesson is intended for viewers who need to learn the basics of HTML and CSS or simply need a refresher. Lessons specifically related to HTML5 begin with our Lesson 6 video using HTML5 markup. So to begin with, I've opened the index.html page located in the 02 Lessons folder. And what we'll be doing here is changing this heading, Smoothie World, purple, and we'll also be changing some of the text within this first paragraph purple as well. In order to do that, we need to go into our code. And here within the code, you can see I've already added this style tag here within the head section. And what I'd like to do is specifically target this heading 1 by using a CSS selector. In this case, H1, or heading 1. I'll then add these curly braces here, and then I'll put in my declaration, or my rule. Color, purple. I'll save my file. I'll go back to my browser and reload, and now we can see that the color purple has been added to that heading. Let's go back to our code for a moment. So this entire rule here is what we call a tag style. In other words, we're redefining the appearance of the heading 1. What if we wanted to change the word Smoothie World within this paragraph and make it purple? But we couldn't use that same style. So what we would have to do is a combination of HTML and CSS. First, let's go ahead and make a class in our style section. The class name I'll use is .purple. I'll also put in the curly braces here, and the same rule. Now the name I chose here, .purple, is referred to as a class in CSS. This name is somewhat arbitrary. I could have called it anything. However, the dot at the very beginning indicates that this is a class style. Now, in order to apply this class, I need to go into my HTML and define the area that I want to be purple. So I will go to this paragraph here, and I'll add this tag, span. So the span tag begins to define where that class style will be applied. However, we need to indicate exactly what class we want to use. In this case, I will say span class equals purple. And then I need to use the closing span tag. Essentially what we're saying is from this tag through this tag, I want to apply the class called purple. Let's save our file, reload our browser, and now we can see that it's applied. Now, of course, these particular styles are being used in what's called an internal style sheet. That means the styles here will only be applied to this page and this page only. If we want to create a master style sheet or an external style sheet, we can then attach that style sheet to new pages within our website. So we might have 10, 20, 30 pages within our website, and we want them all to use the same styles. So to do that, we use a separate document, in this case an external style sheet. I'll choose File, New. I'll choose File, Save. I'll save it into my 02 Lessons folder and call this styles.css. I'll then go back to my index.html page, and I'm going to cut these styles out of the style section, and then place them within the styles.css page. I'll save my file. I'll go back to my index.html file and save it. And before I create the link between these two documents, I just want to show you that right now there is no link. In other words, if we go back to our browser and reload, we get an unstyled page. So the last step is simply to make sure that there's a link between index.html and the styles.css document. So to do that, I'll go back to my index.html page, and below the style section, I will add a link. So I'm done creating that link, and simply I'm saying I'm linking to a style sheet that happens to be CSS, and the href section is the most important. I'm simply pointing to the styles.css document, which happens to be in the same folder as this index.html page. So I'll save my file. I'll go back to the browser, reload, and we're connected again. The styles are now being applied to this page. The benefit of this, of course, is I could create new pages, link to that external style sheet, and they would all share common styles. That's it for now. In this lesson, you learned how to create the basics of styling text with a CSS tag style and a class style, and you also learned how to create an external style sheet.